Hello, happily married woman. It is Dr. Siobhan here. I hope that you are doing well. It's been quite a while since I've done a live stream directly into this group. I have been doing live streams elsewhere a little bit, although I have to admit that probably for the past like 2 weeks, I've been a little bit late on my live streams, and I've been a little bit busy. So I don't know if you remember, like when you first fall in love, right? Like you have sort of like the I want to spend every second with you feeling, right? It's sort of like, I don't want to do anything else but just like talk to you and think about you and all of that good stuff, right? You guys are feeling me, right? So falling in love is like the best feeling. I remember when I was like in my 20s, and you know, you have like your girlfriends, because most of your friends are still single at that time. So you have like your crew of friends that you hang out with. And then inevitably someone would get like booed up, right? Someone would find a guy and all of a sudden they would just go like missing in action, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like you're like, what happened to her? She acts like she doesn't know anybody anymore, and she acts like all she wants to do is spend time with this guy. Like she better not forget her friends and all of that good stuff. So I have sort of been guilty of that, right? Like I think that I am in this phase of like being so in love and like totally falling in love again, that's all I want to do is like spend time with this person that I've fallen in love with. And it's an amazing feeling because like your thoughts are kind of consumed by this person and it's all good, right? It's all good stuff and you only see the positive. You have like so much hope and expectation and you're just like ready for whatever the future holds. And I'm sure as you think about even your relationship with your own husband, there was probably a time where you felt that. Maybe you're feeling that now, and if you are, amazing, great, I'm so happy for you. And I'm just like so in love. So kind of silly, right? It's kind of silly. I'm usually a little bit more like poised and like know exactly what I'm going to say. But that's kind of what happens when you are like so into someone. Like your mind just goes a little bit mush and your heart is all giddy, and that's the place that I'm in. And so with that, right, because that's how I'm feeling, I wanted to come and share with all of you how to fall back in love, because it is an incredible feeling that makes really every part of your life so much better, right? Can you all agree that when you're like in sync with someone and you're aligned with them and you're on the same page, that like you can handle any challenge in life so much easier, right? Like everything sort of rolls off of you, and it's like any problems at work, any problems with the kids, like none of that really matters because like you're good with this person, right? And so, you know, a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to drive to go visit my friend who was about 6-7 hours away from me. So it was a very long car ride, but I had the chance to reconnect with my love. And it was an amazing experience. And I think I'm sort of riding the tide of that ever since. And as you all are listening, right, you may have some idea of who I'm talking about. And maybe you think that I'm talking about my husband, which would be wonderful and amazing. But I'm actually talking about God. And I've had this just amazing relationship with him lately that is seeping into and positively affecting every other area of my life. So in that long car ride, I had the chance to, one, sort of press pause on all of the busyness of my life, right? Like all of us are busy. We're doing all of the things. We're trying to be everything to everyone all day, every day, and it's exhausting. And so for me in this car ride, it was just me and him the whole way. right? Like if I don't want to listen to any music, if I just want to talk to him for 6, 7 hours, I could do that. If I wanted to like listen to love songs and praise and worship and just get into his presence, I could do that without one single distraction. And it has made all the difference for me. And so now I'm just in this zone where I'm like, you're my first choice, God. Like, you're my first choice to spend my time with. You're my first choice to talk to. And I've fallen in love with him all over again. And I wanted to come on and share with you what I've been doing so that you can apply it to your life as well. Because the secret, right, the secret to experiencing that deep, amazing, and incredible love means that you're connected to the source of love. And so a lot of times when we have issues and problems in our marriage, or we're feeling a little bit disconnected from our husband, it's not so much a function of what our husbands are doing or what they're not doing, or, you know, how we're arguing and getting into all these issues with each other. But it really is sometimes a function of having an overflow of love within ourselves. So when we enter marriage, we enter hoping and expecting that our spouse will love us, yes, as they should, but we also enter expecting and hoping that they will be able to meet our needs. And we have this misconception sometimes that they won't disappoint us, or that they'll always be willing to meet our needs, that they'll always be romantic, that they'll always be understanding and loving and kind and patient and all of those amazing things that love is. And when that doesn't happen, a lot of times we don't know where to go to get that need met, right? When we're feeling unimportant, or when we're feeling unappreciated, or we're feeling like we're not on the same page, our knee-jerk reaction is to try to get our husband to change, right? To try to get him to understand our perspective, to try to tell him what he needs to do, to try to motivate him to do the things that we want him to do. And we don't often recognize that any void that we're feeling, any misalignment in our relationship with our husband, sometimes is a reflection of not being as deeply connected to our ultimate source of love. And so we look to our husbands to provide that love for us, but we can't even really truly receive it because we haven't connected and dialed into our ultimate source of love. And so for me, right, for me in this place that I am right now of being like giddy with love, it's because I've connected to that source, right? And I cannot tell you how much of a difference it makes for everything in my life. It makes a difference for the relationship I have with my husband, right? So we are always, you know, every couple has their good days and their bad days, and we are no different. And there are many things that we continue to push through and work through together as a couple. Many things about my husband that irk me the wrong way, many things about me that irk him the wrong way. But I have to say that over this period of really being connected and tuned into God, that much of that tension and much of that aggravation with each other is dissipated, because I'm like, I don't need you to understand me in this particular way. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need you to co-sign on my feelings, because God does. God is my everything right now, and you are just an enhancement to my life rather than being the center of my life. And so it's so important. It's just so important. I can tell you I am a better mother over the past several weeks. Like, you know, many of you know I have a 1 and a 3-year-old. That is a really challenging time. I spend 70% of the day listening to someone scream and cry and whine, right? And that wears on you after a while. But I have to say that I've been able to be so present with my children, so patient and so understanding, and just so in awe of the miracle and the blessing that they are in my life. So that is my personal experience. And because I am having such an amazing time, I want you to also have such an amazing time. And so I just wanted to share with you five, I think it's five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 points for how to fall in love again. And these points are kind of parallel to what you would normally think when you're trying to fall in love with like a romantic partner. But I want you to sort of take what you already know about falling in love and extrapolate it to your relationship with God. Okay? So point number 1 is just spend time together, right? Again, you could think about when you and your husband first started out, like you spent time together. You spent time getting to know each other. You spent time in each other's presence. You did things together, right? And the funny thing is, you know, I looked up the statistic right before coming on. The average person spends 15 to 30 minutes a week in prayer. Did you know that? 15 to 30 minutes a week in prayer. That's like 90 seconds a day, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a math whiz at all. But it's not enough. It's not enough to really have any kind of meaningful relationship with someone, right? But we think about spending time in prayer with God like, oh, I don't have time for it. That's way too much time to spend like half an hour a day in prayer. Like, are you kidding me? But yet, how often are we watching TV? Seriously, like, even if you watch one TV show a night, right, that's 7 hours a week compared to 15 to 30 minutes a week. And if you go to church, like it's probably happening in church and not necessarily back at home. So step number 1 to falling in love is spend time together. Increase the amount of time that you spend in prayer, in worship, in connection with God, right? Whatever that is for you. So if it's like every so often, try to make it a certain number of times a week. Right? I'm not asking you to like, you know, radically shift everything, but just make an effort to press into him a little bit more than you normally do. Okay, so that's number 1, spend time together. Number 2 is to read his love notes. And I think the Bible is God's love letter to us, right? There are so many things that we take from the Bible that we maybe have taught from the Bible that aren't appealing, right? It's like, oh, the Bible, my goodness, the King James Version, like, I don't know what they're saying. I can't tell you how many times I've had a personal goal of like trying to read the Bible cover to cover, and 2 minutes later, I'm like falling asleep. I'm like, I have no idea. Like, who are these people? Their names are so long. Like, what is this all about? And I have to say now, with technology and with 1,001 translations, the Bible can be something that's really accessible to you, right? So if you're not reading to like be able to quote scripture and give sermons, I find that the Message Bible, the Message version, the Message translation is like reading like a soap opera. Like, the Bible is so intriguing. There are so many amazing stories, so many amazing words of love and encouragement and support that God has already written for us. And we don't open it, we don't spend time in it, and we miss out. We miss out on his love letter to us. And so find some book of the Bible that really resonates with you and just make a commitment to read. Just start there and look for his love. Look for his love there. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is listen to songs that remind you of him. Right? Like, you do that when you're in love with someone. I remember when my husband and I first started dating, I listened to this song by John Legend, So High. I think it's called So High. And I was just like literally on cloud 9 when I would listen to the song. I would think about him. My heart would like be filled with so much joy and excitement. And it made me so happy. And so as you enter into this process of falling back in love with God, listen to songs that remind you of him. I have a playlist of songs right now that, like, literally, if I could just listen to them all day, that's exactly what I would do. Exactly what I would do. They just make me just so in love with him and so in awe of him. So find your songs. There's a million of them on YouTube, right? You don't have to buy a CD or anything like that. Just Google and think back to some of your favorite love songs that connect you with God. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to be vulnerable, right? So you don't really experience someone else's love until you're willing to be fully open and expose yourself to them. And a lot of times when it comes to praying and communicating with God, we think that he already knows. Like, he already knows, I don't need to say it. And there's something very therapeutic and cathartic about just sharing your concerns with him, just pouring out your heart. Like, I'm really worried about this. I'm really concerned about this. I can't stop thinking about this. And so I want to share it with you because I want to give it to you because I know that you will take good care of this concern. And you're going to save the day. Like, God is Superman to you. And he can only be that to you when you open yourself up and you allow yourself to be vulnerable so that he can carry the burdens of your heart. And by opening yourself up to him in that way, everything will be lighter. Like, I promise you, everything will be lighter. And once you do that, the next step is to literally just let him save the day for you. Listen to his response, right? So share what's on your heart and listen for his response, right? God is not a silent God. And a lot of times we feel sometimes that the things we're requesting or the things we're asking of him are falling on deaf ears because he's not like there in the flesh in front of us. And maybe we turn to other people for help. But I promise you, if you are still, if you are quiet, if you look for the ways that he's speaking to you, he's speaking to you. On Sunday, I listened to a variety of church sermons on podcasts. And so I was going through my podcasts, and I have a ton of podcasts loaded on my phone. And if you're not familiar with what a podcast is, it's really just like an audio program. So if you're watching a YouTube video, it's sort of like the audio version of that. It's an app on the iPhone. So I have a lot of different podcasts that I listen to for a lot of different reasons. And I have a new phone, and so when I opened the app for the first time on this new phone, it like reordered my podcasts for some reason. Not really for some reason. I think it was God speaking to me. And the two things that came up first, one was a message by T.D. Jakes, and another one was a sermon from this church I listened to, National Community Church. And I kid you not, both sermon titles were "Do Not Worry." Like back to back, like "Do not worry." And it was a day that I had woken up with some concerns in my heart. And I went to that app. I went to the podcast to like hear a word from God. And there it was. Like before I even listened to the message, he already spoke to me, right? And he saved the day for me, even in that moment with those few words, "Do not worry," 3 words that spoke directly to what I needed to hear. So again, the secret or the steps to falling back in love are to spend time together. And I'm talking about God, falling back in love with God, because that is the portal to all love, all happiness, all joy, all peace in your life, okay? So number 1 is to spend time together. Number 2, read his love note, which is the Bible. Listen to songs that remind you of him. Be vulnerable by sharing your concerns. And listen for him and let him save the day. So I know that there are a few of you watching right now. I would love to know which one you are personally going to make a commitment to do more of? Are you going to get more time with him in his presence? Put it in the comments. I would love to support you. Are you going to maybe read the Bible, read his love note to you? Are you going to listen to songs that remind you of him? Are you going to share your concerns and what's on your heart? Are you going to learn to listen and let him save the day for you? What are you going to do? I know you guys are there. Don't be shy. This is a safe place, a safe community for you to share, right? I'm being super vulnerable and transparent with you all, and I want to encourage you to do the same because it's liberating. It's so liberating. So I'm waiting for those comments to come in because I know there's a little bit of a delay, but I would love to hear and see and read what you're taking away from this. How has it helped you? Tell me. I want to know. Tell me. And I'm comfortable with the silence. Part of my training as a coach. Sometimes when you ask people questions, they need a little bit of time to process, and they need a bit of time to like collect their thoughts and to like get up the courage to actually give you a response. So I'm okay with that. Just sit here. Who's brave enough to share? Well, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to tell you about something. So you may have seen in the group that next week I am starting a self-care challenge. I put a vote out to you all on what topic you wanted the challenge on. And I'm super excited about this challenge. One, because I love challenges. I love anything that is like a short period of time that you just focus in. I'm an extremely competitive person, and so I love to like be in something where I like have to do what I said I'm going to do. So this challenge is going to be 5 days, and each day I'm going to come on and share with you a self-care practice that you can begin to make a habit. And they're going to be super simple. Again, I know that you're busy. I know you got a lot on your plate. But I also know that you need to take better care of yourself because you've told me, and I know that I need to take better care of myself. And sometimes we don't know what to do. Sometimes we let excuses tell us that we can't do it, but you can. And for these 5 days, when we start our challenge next week, that's exactly what I hope that you will commit to doing. So it's going to be fun, right? Because everything I do has to include some fun. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And I want you to invite your friends. So several of you have already started doing that. Invite your friends to this group so that we can all be a part of it together. It also comes with a prize because I know sometimes we need that external motivation. So if you follow all the specifications of the challenge, which number 1 is to say I'm in for the challenge. That's number 1. Number 2 is to invite some friends to the group, and I'll give you the rest of the instructions later. But if you do all that you're supposed to do and participate in the challenge, you have a chance to win a $100 gift certificate. So you want to be a part of that, right? Because who couldn't use an extra $100, right? Especially when we're in this zone of self-care. So you guys are giving me lots of like hearts and lots of likes. I don't see any comments. And I'm gonna let you slide. I'm gonna let you slide today. I'm not gonna like beat you down. But I hope that you really take this message to heart. I hope that it has been inspiring to you. I hope that it has given you a new perspective on your relationship with God and how your relationship with God affects your relationship in your marriage, right? They're an extension of each other. Your relationship with God, and it shows up in every area of your life. Your relationship with yourself shows up in every area of your life. And so I'm starting now with sharing how to fall back in love with God. You could apply these same principles for how to fall back in love with yourself, and then apply these same principles for how to fall back in love with your husband. All the same steps, right? All the same steps. Spend time together. Read the love notes. Listen to songs that remind you. Be vulnerable. And be willing to listen and let him save the day. So thank you for tuning in. It's been great to see you all. I've missed you. And I'll be back I'll be back. So be on the lookout. Make sure you put on all your notifications for this group because amazing things are about to happen in here. And I'm going to be sharing some really exciting stuff that I don't want you to miss. So make sure you turn your notifications on. Make sure you check your notifications and your news feeds and come to the group directly to see what I've posted each day because you don't want to miss out, especially between like now and the end of the year. I've got incredible, incredible stuff to share with you that I know you're going to love. So have an incredible night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.